أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله يأمر بالعدل وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. And don't forget that this life here is a test for us. Test meaning we have to eliminate so many things from our lives and our livelihood that might be appealing or fun to us. We have to say no to them. This life being a test, meaning it's not so much living, because living worthy of life is the life of wal-akhira. So I would like to relate to you a story mentioned in Surah Al Qalam, chapter The Pen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I'm going to give you a summary, and I recommend that you go yourself and read the chapter because there are much details in it. And what happens in that story, Allah is relating to us that there was a group of people totally unaware, while being Muslim, totally being unaware of Allah's capabilities and His plan for His people sometimes. And that they were also very ambitious people, and they were kind of hostile to poor people. So there are multiple things that are wrong in the story when it comes to the mentality of those people. And what they had planned the night before was to go early on their farmland, on their pasture, and collect whatever they have worked for or whatever they had grown. So what happened was they planned what they planned. They arrived on their farmland, and what they saw, what happened to their land overnight, was devastating. So they started questioning. They first thought that they had lost their way and this is not their land. And then they realized that it is their land, and they thought they have been deprived of their livelihood. And most sensible of them said that, did I not tell you to include Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your plans? Say God willing, Allah willing, and include His will into your plans. So they realized that this is a doing from Allah, plan of Allah, and they could not blame anyone else, but they started blaming each other for what had happened. And then they started saying things like, oh, Allah will give us something better and wal-akhira in return for this. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concluded the story by saying that this is the like of Allah's punishment for those who transgress against themselves in this life. So there's a punishment for the people sometimes from Allah in this life here, and the greater of the punishment will be the punishment of wal-akhira if we don't stop. So this is mentioned in end of the chapter. This is mentioned in Surah Sajda, prostration. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we make them taste a smaller torment prior to a greater torment, so that they may return. So, and at another point, I can't recall the chapter, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He also sends punishment to the people through their wealth and children. So if you find yourselves in hardship sometimes, it could be a test or it could be a punishment. What it requires for you to do as a people, as a believer, as a Muslim ya mu'mineen, that you go ahead and become one of Raji'een. Raji'een are those who contact Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who get in contact with Him when a calamity touches them. And they stay on that path going forward. This is such a blessing. A torment, a punishment, Allah can become a great blessing for a believer if he believes after that. And if he does not become an aggressor or transgressor after a calamity has touched them. Because no loss comes from anyone else but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No profit comes from anyone else but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what we believe in as a people. So if you find yourselves in hardship, in financial hardships, or in, like, let's say, family related hardships, return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because this is why it's important for us as people to know what Allah wants us to do. Sometimes hardship comes in other ways, like we get injuries and stuff like that. That's also a hardship. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also broke down what kind of hardships and what kind of calamities can strike a people. Sometimes calamities such as Allah breaks people into a group of people and tests them against each other. This is also a calamity. This is also, you can say, like a punishment of Allah that comes in certain time. Punishment of Allah comes another time when Allah sends scourges from the sky and from beneath our feet. And then punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also comes to us through wealth and children. And also in these two things are a test for us. So it could be a test, it could be a punishment, could be whatever. But if you find yourselves in hardship, you have to return to Allah doing two things, two main things. And you have to keep on, like, obviously, keep on doing variety of good acts, but two major things that are being patient and offering salat. This is how you fight hard times as a Muslimin and Mu'mineen. So in these things are messages for the people, for the believers, and this is just a reminder to all of us. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.